Hello and welcome to our nightly news. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense presided over a Council of Ministers meeting devoted to several topics, including the draft law on the prevention of drugs and psychotropic tablets, as well as preparations on the occasion of Eid al-Adha. We will also evoke the President's regular media meeting with representatives of national press, during which they discussed food and water security as well as the President's commitment to open global national dialogue soon. The President of the Republic also affirmed that Algeria is looking forward to double its natural gas production, stressing that the only authority to resolve the fabricated disputes with France is the French President. Speaking of France, its streets are in fact flooded with manifestations against racism and the far right, creating a climate of tension within the French political class. And in Morocco, anger keeps rising and the manifestations are increasing in several Moroccan cities, demanding an end to the normalization with the Zionist entity and the heinous practices of the Muslim regime. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, chaired a Council of Ministers meeting. The agenda included a draft law on drug and psychotropic substances prevention, as well as presentations on the integration of contractual teachers, the results of an international consultation regarding the importation of livestock for Eid al-Adha, and airfare reduction for the national community abroad during the same occasion. After the Prime Minister presented the government's activities over the past 2 weeks and following interventions by ministers on legislative projects and reports, the President of the Republic issued the following instructions. Regarding the integration of contractual teachers, the President approved the integration of 82,410 contractual teachers across different educational levels in line with his commitments to the education sector and in recognition of the role of educators in shaping and safeguarding future generations. This follows the previous integration process involving 62,000 contractual teachers, bringing the total to 144,410 teachers across all levels. On the results of the international consultation regarding livestock imports for Eid al-Adha, the President approved the importation of 1 million head of livestock in preparation for the Eid. These imports will be exempt from all taxes and duties, ensuring that it is affordable for citizens. Offers from 3 countries meeting Algeria's requirements, in particular in terms of livestock, health and compliance with sacrificial regulations, were accepted. And on airfare reduction for the national community abroad, the Council of Ministers approved a 40% discount on all flights to Algeria operated by Air Algérie, allowing Algerians abroad to spend Eid al-Adha with their families. On a preventive plan against potential low-cost swarms at the southern borders, the President emphasized Algeria's leadership and expertise in low-cost control. He ordered maximum prevention measures to be taken to proactively eliminate that at the borders before they advance. A preparation and coordination meeting will be held in the model southern province to establish an effective response plan, incorporating the expertise of local specialists. Close coordination with the Ministry of National Defense is required at every stage of the control strategy. On drug and psychotropic substance prevention, the President stressed that Algeria is facing an undeclared war, with drugs being used as a weapon against it. These substances are being trafficked across the western and southern borders by malicious forces seeking to weaken Algerian youth and undermine the country's social values, which Algeria continues to defend. He ordered a comprehensive study and debate on the national strategy and the draft law for drug prevention, emphasizing that the issue is a matter of national security. He called for a holistic approach to combat drug abuse, starting with field mechanisms for awareness, monitoring and treatment, and culminating in strict deterrence measures, including the harshest penalties for drug traffickers and users, especially for harder drugs, to protect Algerian youth. On the roadmap for diversifying energy sources for electricity production, the President instructed the government to adopt a strategic vision for energy investment, ensuring that excess production is directed towards exports, capitalizing on Algeria's proven energy sector success. He emphasized that energy investments must be profitable for Algeria after achieving self-sufficiency. Algeria will soon initiate research through international partnerships to develop new and clean energy sources using national expertise. The country's increased energy production will follow a dual approach, supporting both traditional and new energy investments while ensuring national energy security. The President encouraged Sonagaz to play a leading regional and continental role given its capabilities and highly skilled workforce. He once again expressed gratitude to all Sonagaz employees and executives for their efforts in expanding electricity across Algeria and supporting investment projects in various sectors. The Council of Ministers concluded with the approval of decrees and decisions concerning appointments and dismissals in senior state positions. On Saturday, the President of the Republic tackled during his regular media meeting with representatives of national press key national and international issues. President Abdelmajid Tebboune affirmed that Algeria has made decisive strides towards achieving water security, now relying on seawater desalination for 72% of its supply. This follows the commissioning of 5 new desalination plants, with the Bajaya plant set to begin operations soon. He also emphasized the need to harness all the water resources and interconnect dams to enhance water integration.
محطات تحلية اللي مع البرنامج المقبل عندنا كذلك محطة طلقت ب60 ألف متر مكعب تيزي وزو، ومبرمجين باش تكون فيه 6 محطات أخرى بالحجم اللي عرفناه ولا شوية أقل، حتى نصل إلى تغطية حاجيات المواطن من المياه شروب إلى 72%. وخذينا قرار كذلك أن كل ما تكون لنا الفرصة باش نزيد ننجز محطات تصفية على الشط الجزائري بصفة عامة، الشاطئ شرق غرب وسط، سنفعل إن شاء الله.
The President explained that the import of red meat is a response to citizens' needs. He also expressed satisfaction with the resolution of the agricultural land issue, recalling his agreement with the Farmers' Union to find a definitive solution for the sheep farming sector.
اليوم راني نستورد لأننا تفاهمنا باللي ما نخلي المواطن يحتاج حتى شيء. ما فيه إنتاج وطني ولا فيه إنتاج وطني مدبدب، نعوضوا بالاستيراد. ومستقبلا غادي يشوفوها تكون فيه قوانين صارمة اللي يمس النعجة أو الرخلة كما نقولوا احنا في المناطق تاع لوكسمبورغ لانيال، هذا يخلصها غالي. اللي يبيع الخروف ولا يبيع الكبش. لانيال سي بور لا ريبرودكسيون. وانا تفاهمت مع اتحاد الفلاحين باش نعاودوا نتلاقوا بالاخص لا فيليار هذه اوفين باش نصيبوا حل نهائيا. وممكن الحل لأن بلاد شاسعة وواسعة وقادرة تستوعب 20-25 مليون ماشية.
The President reaffirmed his commitment to gradually increasing wages and employment benefits. He also praised the strong sense of patriotism among the younger generation who take pride in their country.
نجم نزيد ولازم نزيد باسكو التزمت بها باش نزيد في منحة البطالة، نزيد تدريجيا مش بالضرورة باش مرة واحدة نزيد ما الشيء اللي يكلفني ب 20 مليار دينار ولا كذا. أنا نبدي ب 1000 دينار 2000 2500 ونزيد نواصل، لأن التزمت باللي في هذه العهدة هذه نوصل الزيادات في الأجور إلى 100%. أنا في 47% نوصل باقي 53%. دونك على حساب الظروف تاع البلاد، والظروف تاع البلاد أنا نحاولوا نحسنوها إن شاء الله.
The President also commended the progress made in digitization across various sectors, highlighting the state's efforts to combat speculation through strict penalties.
اليوم القانون راه يعاقب عقوبات صارمة، يعني الإنسان اللي هاز الماكلة نتاع المواطن ودايها ما وراء الحدود ممكن يجيه 30 عام سجن. أنا قلت ما نخلي المواطن يحتاج حتى شيء، وين ما تكون فيه شبه ماشي ندرة ولكن تذبذب هذا نستورد. ما إذا كان أنا نستورد 10 وتخرج خارج الحدود 20، أنا نضيعوا في وقتنا ونضيعوا في فلوسنا. هذاك علاش المضاربة والتحويل المواد الأساسية للخارج تعتبر جريمة، لازم وسائل تعرضها.
The president affirmed that the state will firmly confront anyone attempting to undermine the national stability, unity, or Algerian societal values under the pretext of freedom of expression.
حرية التعبير إذا كان الشتم والتجريح والتنويه والتشويه نتاع عائلات وبنات وولاد وهذه ما كانش، ماهيش هذه الحرية رافضينها احنا. تقاليدنا وثقافتنا تمنع هذا الشيء. ما تبقى تفضل تفضل، انا ما منعش الانسان اللي يقول لا 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 استيراد كذا ضروري ولا هذه علاش نديروها ماذا بينا، تفضل. اليوم ممنوع الوحدة الوطنية تمسها تدقدق، هذا هو. كل الجزائريين أي منطقة تركز على الخصوصيات تخلصها، لأن راك عميل، راك طابور خامس، تمس الوحدة الوطنية، تمس الوحدة الثقافية، تمس هذا.
The president also stated that Algeria aims to double its natural gas production within the next 5 years, emphasizing its role as a highly reliable supplier, in particular to the European market. He added that work is underway to implement a third pipeline project linking Algeria and Italy to Germany for hydrogen exports.
Nous sommes en train de faire nos propres découvertes. Je me suis engagé sur pratiquement en 5 ans, presque doubler, si possible, la production de gaz dans le désert. Nous sommes un pourvoyeur de gaz pour les pays européens très fiable, quelles que soient les difficultés passagères de mésentente, tout ça, on ne touche jamais à ça parce que ça va chez les peuples. Le principal client, c'est l'Italie. Les liens sont assez étroits avec l'Italie.
Des échanges gagnant-gagnant.
Gagnant-gagnant. Nous sommes sur un troisième pipe dont l'étude va se terminer, où on va exporter l'hydrogène, l'électricité non conventionnelle, et peut-être même de l'électricité conventionnelle. Tout ça, on le fait dans un grand pipe pour l'Allemagne et pour l'Italie.
The president reaffirmed his commitment to launching an inclusive national dialogue by late 2025 or early 2026, expressing hope that it will serve the nation's best interests.
أنا قلت في آخر 25 بداية 26 نفتح نقاش وطني في المستقبل تاع البلاد، لأن في اعتقادي أن في نهاية 2025 بداية 2026 نكونوا بالتقريب قضينا على المشاكل اللي ورثناها، لا من ناحية المال ولا من ناحية الميزانية ولا من ناحية التمويل ولا من ناحية كذا ولا من ناحية الترسيم تاع الموظفين، من ناحية يعني كل ثغرات أنا نسدوا فيها، نتفرغ الأمور السياسية الجامعة للبلاد.
The president affirmed that Algeria's foreign policy is based on diversifying partnerships with a core focus on mutual respect and shared interests.
On s'entend très bien avec l'Europe. L'Espagne, il y a eu une période de froid, d'incompréhension. Les choses ont repris normalement. L'ambassadeur est là-bas. Les relations ont repris aussi, bien sûr, le plan commercial. Les relations entre nous et Washington s'améliorent quotidiennement. Quotidiennement. On a signé des accords militaires aussi. Et cela n'affecte en rien notre amitié avec la Russie, ni notre amitié avec la Chine, ni notre amitié avec d'autres pays, l'Inde et ainsi de suite. Ça, c'est nos gènes de non-alignés. Et nous ne nous départirons jamais du non-alignement. Être l'ami d'un pays, ça ne veut pas dire être son satellite ou être son vassal. Aucun de ces pays-là, j'en témoigne, n'a jamais essayé de vassaliser l'Algérie.
The president affirmed that he has given his full trust to Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf to handle the issue of the fabricated disputes with France, emphasizing that the only point of reference for resolving disagreements with France is the French president.
Comme point de repère et unique point de repère pour moi, c'est le président Macron. Nous travaillons ensemble. Il y a eu, c'est vrai, un moment d'incompréhension, mais il reste le président de la République française, le président de la Ve République. Et personnellement, tous les problèmes doivent se régler avec lui ou avec la personne qu'il délègue à juste titre, dont c'est les prérogatives, à savoir les ministres des Affaires étrangères. Sinon, pour le reste, moi, en ce qui me concerne, le dossier contentieux créé de toutes pièces avec la France, il est entre de bonnes mains, il est entre les mains de quelqu'un de très compétent, qui a toute ma confiance, c'est le ministre des Affaires étrangères. C'est tout. Tout ce que je peux vous dire dans ce sujet-là. C'est deux États indépendants, une puissance européenne, une puissance africaine. Les deux présidents travaillent ensemble.
The president's remarks on France gained wide coverage in the French press. Outlets such as La Nouvelle République, TF1, and France 24 highlighted this statement that the French president remains Algeria's only point of reference, seeing this as a step towards easing tensions between the two countries. Najah Tayyar.
Algeria's diplomatic stance is in sharp focus following the President Tebboun's address to the national press, analyzing key issues at both the Arab and the global levels. The Arabic language news sites focused on the President's statement regarding tensions between Algeria and France, emphasizing the headline, Emmanuel Macron, his only point of reference for resolving all differences. Meanwhile, the President's remarks on the Arab League received significant attention. Bold headlines highlighted Algeria's firm stance against mere symbolic participation in Arab summits and its call for restructuring the Arab world. Foreign media also widely reported on the content of the President's statements, reflecting the global interest in Algeria's diplomatic positions.
C'est très bien. Voilà une façon de
That's a great way of renewing dialogue and exchanging views on sensitive issues between the two presidents, and it's a good sign.
C'est un bon signal.
Tensions with France dominated the headlines, with the president reiterating that direct dialogue with Emmanuel Macron or an authorized representative, such as the French foreign minister, remains the only path forward. The stance reflects Algeria's unchanged position since the start of the manufactured crisis with France. The article and the analysis highlight also that Algeria remains firm in its approach, emphasizing that diplomatic resolutions should follow proper channels.
Anger erupts across France as tens of thousands march against racism and the rising of the far right. Amid economic crisis and growing hostility towards minorities, protesters demand justice and unity. Mir Salila Balaman.
The streets are erupting with anger as protests sweep across France. Thousands have risen to denounce racism and the growing influence of the far right. Saturday, over 90,000 demonstrators took to the streets, condemning an increasingly hostile climate towards minorities and foreigners. This massive mobilization was fueled by strong solidarity with Gaza and mounting frustration with government policies seen as dangerously lenient toward far-right ideologies, policies that foster discrimination and inject hatred into society.
On sent bien qu'il y a des logiques.
You can feel the shock grip in society, a paralysis that only deepens as we watch members of the current government echo far-right rhetoric. Retailleau seems to have launched a personal crusade against both immigrants and Algeria, and meanwhile, the space for anti-racist voices is shrinking, pushed to the margins of public discourse.
La façon dont le débat public aujourd'hui évolue, avec quand même une parole antiraciste qui est extrêmement marginalisée dans l'espace public.
C'est surtout de l'inquiétude.
We're here to prove that not everyone accepts the far right's rise to power, that resistance is alive. That's why we're here today, to stand together. Racism and discrimination aren't opinions, they are injustices.
Et de discriminer d'autres personnes.
From Paris to Marseille, Strasbourg to Lyon, tens of thousands flooded the streets. In Marseille, banners condemning state-sponsored Islamophobia were lifted high alongside Palestinian flags. The protests come at a time of deep economic and social crisis. Unemployment is rising, poverty is spreading, the house crisis is worsening, and inflation is crushing low-income families. With the government failing to offer real solutions, public frustration is turning into outright fury.
Il faut combattre ensemble et pas les uns derrière les autres.
Maybe it's time to rethink our policies. We need immigrants. We need everyone to build this country. Once, France invited them to help rebuild after war, and now it wants to cast them aside as if they were disposable. No, they came here, they built this country, and they belong here. And let's not forget, these are the very people doing the jobs that many French citizens refuse to do.
Ces gens-là font le travail que le français veut pas faire.
France's true beauty lies in its diversity, in the mosaic of cultures and histories that shape it. We may come from different religions, different political views, but we stand united against fascism. We fight for humanity.
Across France, this wave of protests is sending a clear message. The people refuse to let racism and far-right extremism dictate the nation's future. The fight for justice and equality is far from over.
Retailleau's interference in diplomacy sparks criticism, with his relentless attacks on Algeria and unilateral expulsions orders fuel unnecessary tensions and political discord.
Retailleau's latest antics resemble those of the French Interior Minister, who fancies himself a diplomat. His relentless attacks on Algeria have become intolerable for many senior officials who have voiced their frustration in the press. Even within the Élysée, these actions are causing irritation, with some describing them as a growing problem beyond the usual circles of dissent. At the highest level of the government, criticism is mounting. The French president, protective of his authority, especially regarding relations with Algiers, dislikes any intrusion into his domain. Meanwhile, tensions between the interior minister and his counterparts, including in foreign affairs, are reportedly great in teeth in the president's office.
I criticized the position taken by the Minister of the Interior because he was taking a position on a subject that was not within his remit. Since it is the Minister's responsibility to ensure that the issue is dealt with, and to try to negotiate on these issues is the responsibility of the President of the Republic. What I'm saying is, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the President of the Republic must do what is within their remit and their responsibility.
In a climate where attacking Algeria can boost popularity, Retailleau's aggressive stance serves his party's agenda. However, the Élysée is firm. Personal ambitions have no place in the state affairs. Even within the government, his approach is questioned. One minister finds Retailleau's strategy both embarrassing and ineffective, as his rhetoric, shaped by public opinion, gains him nothing. It has also come to light that the latest expulsion orders targeting Algerian nationals were issued solely on his initiative. While French institutions waver, Algiers remains steadfast, as the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, has reaffirmed diplomacy follows established channels, and in that regard, all remains the same.
In Morocco, massive protest has erupted once again across various cities, demanding an end to all forms of normalization with the Zionist entity and condemning the regime's shameful ties with the Zionist entity, while Palestinians are suffering from relentless attacks during the month of Ramadan. Misadila Balaman.
Mass rallies and protests have swept through the main streets of several Moroccan cities, including Tanger, Rabat, Fez, Casablanca and Agadir, opposing normalization with the Zionist entity. We want to let the Moroccan government know that what it is doing is outright shameful. It needs to stop. We are the Moroccan Front for the support of Palestine and against normalization. We are here to denounce and condemn the brutal and barbaric Zionist aggression against our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Chants and banners sent a clear message, a deepening divide between the Moroccan people, who overwhelmingly stand with Palestine, and a government that has chosen to align itself with Zionist occupation by expanding military and economic cooperation, ignoring the bloodshed and the cries of a besieged people.
We are here today to tell our leaders to stop the normalization with the Zionist entity. They are tainting Morocco, its history and its people.
Demonstrations in support of Palestine continue, despite the regime's repression of protesters and its crackdown on dissenting voices. This open betrayal of the Palestinian cause will leave a lasting stain on Morocco's history.
The National Observatory for Combating Terrorism and the African Union Center for Combating Terrorism organized a gathering on the role of the civil society in strengthening and preventing from terrorism in Africa. The event evoked Algeria's experience in the fight against terrorism as a model to follow, while affirming the civil society's role in spreading awareness against this scourge. The event was marked by the signing of a protocol agreement between the observatory and the African Center so as to strengthen cooperation in the fight against terrorism and organized crimes. And in her speech delivered during the gathering, Africa, Strong Values and the Common Future, the president of the National Observatory for Combating Terrorism, Ibtisam Hamlawi, praised Algeria's role in the fight against terrorism. We end today's edition with a powerful display of community in Algeria as 10,000 orphans gathered in the city of Roses, Blida, following the iftar organized by the Economic Renewal Council and the Kafir al-Yatima Association. The Minister of National Solidarity, Family and Women's Affairs joined the local authorities, witnessing the overwhelming spirit of unity between Algeria's sons. I'll leave you with this footage taken by our cameraman Salim Bernani. That was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.